Today's guest webinar is about getting started with Industry 4.0. Our guest for today's webinar is FactoryWorx. FactoryWorx is a software company who are amongst the leaders of manufacturing execution systems software. They enable the digital transformation of manufacturing organizations and enhance the continuous improvement journey to world class. On behalf of FactoryWorx, we have Director Mergen Pillay presenting for us today. So with that being said, let's get started with today's session, and I'll now pass you over to Mergen.
Hi, thanks all for attending the webinar today, and many thanks to CTPM for allowing us to share our learnings on Industry 4.0. So again, my name is Mergen Pillay, Director of FactoryWorx. We are a technology-based software company based in Melbourne and focus on the manufacturing sector. We provide solutions around operations management, and you can find out more about our software at factoryworx.com.au. The agenda for today will cover the evolution of Industry 4.0. We'll then go into some terms and concepts of Industry 4.0, followed by case studies. Then we'll move on to who is Industry 4.0 right for, and the challenges to consider and overcome. The evolution of Industry 4.0. Initially, we started off with mechanization, and manufacturing was transformed through the use of water and steam powered. This followed the second industrial revolution, which introduced steel and electricity. The third industrial revolution, which is automation, started in the mid-1950s, and manufacturing was then transformed through the use of digital technologies, automation, and robotics. And this is where a lot of manufacturers currently find themselves. Moving forward to the fourth industrial revolution, the emergence of technologies have now expanded and allowing us to create smarter factories. Industry 4.0 offers a more comprehensive, interlinked, and data-centric approach to manufacturing. Components of Industry 4.0, just a few terms to go through. Industrial Internet of Things. Industrial Internet of Things provides the connected factory, machine, people, and data. By this, what do we mean? Well, currently we have sensors in our factories to monitor different parts of our process. IoT now has evolved, and a lot of sensors have now adopted new technologies from basic digital or analog. Sensors have now adopted technology of IO-Link, which allows sensors to be smarter. Smarter in the sense that if a sensor fails, it can be replaced with a new sensor, and automatically parameters are downloaded, allowing for minimal downtime in manufacturing. Also, smart sensors not only just provide the measurement of the data that you are monitoring or the sensor that you are monitoring, but rather it can also provide additional information like the quality of the signal. So at all times, if monitored, the factory would be able to respond to a sensor failure even before it happens. There's a number of manufacturing sensor companies out there. These are just a few. And all of them are now standardizing on IO-Link technology. And this is the sensor technology of the future. A few companies not only provide sensors, wired sensors, but also have now extended to wireless sensors, radio transmitters. This allows businesses to lower their cost of sensor deployment by dropping into the factory wireless technology, which then reduces the cost of cabling and connectivity and can allow these sensors to be relocated to any part of the process that will be focused on improvement. Some sensors could be end-on light towers indicating when the line is running within specification or when there's a fault on the line. Also, sensors like magnetic vibration monitors can be retrofitted to any machine, allowing for seamless data connectivity and at a minimal cost. Cloud connectivity. Cloud connectivity now allows for our data to be stored offsite in a hosted server environment and for our process to be connected directly to this environment. So what does cloud provide? And I guess we have pros and cons of cloud solution versus on-premise. Primarily, the cost benefit of cloud provides lower upfront cost, whereas on-premise provides a physical place where your data lives. These are the questions, or these are the concerns that a lot of manufacturers have moving forward, and we will address them in the future slides. Industry 4.0, artificial intelligence. So now that we have a lot of sensors, a lot of information, Industry 4.0 is now evolving the way we interpret data by the use of AI. AI has a number of different aspects, from machine learning to deep learning. But basically what this is all about is the ability for your data to be real-time analyzed and informed information provided back to the operator. So imagine if you walk into a factory and you had a bunch of super operators who knew how their product ran, remembered when we changed from product A to product B, we had a certain sort of inherent product throughput issues or quality issues. Well, that typical operator in your factory is now digitized, and by the use of historic data, the digital operator would then be able to prompt your team and instruct them on corrective actions to take prior to an event happening. Big data. So now we have all of this data. Big data now provides a large amount of data to be analyzed. And the power of big data lies in business intelligence and predictive analytics. Through the use of visualization, we can now interpret our data and provide real-time informed decisions back to management and the factory floor. So smart factories have now evolved to bring us these new levels of technology. Not only sensors and data, but also team management for effective team management. So what do we mean by this? Well, previously we had factories with notice boards and post-it notes stuck all over, and the team would then get together and have a meeting. Due to the pandemic that we currently find ourselves in, we have now been forced to move away from this structure to a more digitized environment. And this is, I guess, accelerating the journey of manufacturers to Industry 4.0. So in a virtual environment, now tasks no longer are stuck on boards, but rather we have a digital Scrum board or task management board where tasks are added, assigned to users, and live feedback is provided to the entire team. So this allows for not only tasks to be tracked and analyzed, but also for your lean tools to be digitized and made available. The power behind digitization is not the process of digitization, but rather the historic information and trends that can be analyzed. Also, digitization helps move factories away from paper-based to more paperless systems, hence reducing the cost burden within the manufacturing process. Moving on to case studies, predictive analytics is one of the first areas we would discuss. Manufacturers have the ability to predict when problems would happen rather than responding to them when they actually do arise. Typical factories started off with operations report, dashboards, live dashboards, which address what has happened. We then move into root cause analysis, which then starts exposing why did this happen. Now with predictive analytics, we can now determine what is going to happen with a certain degree of accuracy. The second case study we'll talk about is digital job instruction and augmented reality. This is now changing manufacturing in that our team can work faster, prevent errors, and it can be used as a learning tool. Who is Industry 4.0 right for? We all want to boost efficiency, profitability across our entire organization. You want better visibility on your supply chain, and you want to identify and address issues before they become problems. So this now will provide real-time insights and help you make better decisions during your business day. Challenges to consider and overcome. As you consider whether or not to invest in Industry 4.0, you may be thinking about some of the potential challenges associated with incorporating new technology and process within your organization. Data security being one of them. At FactoryWorks, we support manufacturers in getting the best of both worlds, which is a combination of cloud or on-premise. This allows for data to be not only pushed to a cloud, but the cloud can live on-premise, providing a more hybrid environment. Hence, enhancing your data security. Do we have the resources to manage this technology? Through SaaS model, we support our team in their daily information and technology requirements. So what does this mean? When we deploy typical sort of Industry 4.0 systems, we would engage with customers and support them on a daily basis to deliver their information. Is adopting Industry 4.0 a huge cost to my business? No. At FactoryWorks, software as a service saves organizations from having to heavily invest in hardware and installation, and provides a cheaper startup cost to adopt new technologies. At FactoryWorks, we focus on not only production data, but deliver information all the way up to strategic manufacturing improvement. We provide scalable systems. So again, we may start off with OEE or production reporting, and then allow your business to expand into team management or any aspect that requires information. And through our Accelerate program, we provide training, connectivity, reporting, analytics, and team collaboration. I will open up now for any discussions. That has brought me to the end of my presentation. You can find more information on factoryworks.com.au, and here is my phone number and email if you need to reach out. Thanks, Nelson.
Okay, thank you very much, Megan. And as Megan said, if you have any questions, please type in your question in the control panel box, and we'll be happy to respond. So we'll wait a little bit for some questions to come through. We do have one question already, Megan. The question is, what are some ERP systems that it currently supports, the FactoryWorks system?
We support a large range of ERP systems, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, pretty much any sort of ERP system out there we have integration to.
Okay, very good. While we'll wait a little bit longer for some more questions to come through, just a reminder that a link to the recording of today's webinar will be provided in a follow-up email to you later today, so please feel free to watch it again or share it with your colleagues. And we have another question here. What kind of line supply or Kanban system is available? I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure on this question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What does it mean there? And we have another question here from Kim, just asking, do you have camera systems to detect visual defects like scratches or on lenses and so forth?
Yes, correct. So yeah, we do have camera systems. We do integrate camera systems to the FactoryWorks platform, and these camera systems could be of, I guess, a number of vendors. So yeah, it's a pretty much an open platform as well.
Okay.
We had a question from Matt Miles during registration,
yep,
and his question is there a cost-effective way to upgrade, retrofit an old manufacturing plant with Industry 4.0 features. Matt, I hope I have answered your question in that traditional practices would have been to obviously automate, put in sensors and PLCs into your equipment, your older equipment, to automate them. However, with the Industry 4.0 approach, we would just retrofit IO-Link sensors and hook that straight to the cloud and provide information on your process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We've got a few questions coming through. There's another question here, which just pretty much asks whether Industry 4.0 has limitation based on the size of the organization, large, medium, or small.
Limitations in terms of the number of sensors. I guess it stems down to the kind of environment that you have set up, the cloud-based environment that you have set up. Mm-hmm. Due to the or based on your service provider, mm-hmm. There's a number of service providers out there. We have the likes of Azure by Microsoft, we have AWS by Amazon and Google Clouds. So based on the environment that you have chosen, you could have a limitation on cost to upload the sensors. Yep. But again, it needs to be kind of addressed on a more one-on-one basis.
Yeah, so obviously dependent on each situation. Yeah. And in terms of the cloud storage, there was another question here. How are the issues of data security addressed? So what's the security measures in place?
Well, you could go, as I said earlier, to a totally public cloud. Example, using one of the mentioned vendors like AWS, or within that sort of architecture, you could create a private cloud, which again provides another level of security of access and data.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just going through some of the questions. I think some of them you have already answered. There was one question here basically asking if there are any self-assessment tools available to evaluate where the factory's current Industry 4.0 maturity is, and how to plan what changes would add the greatest performance or financial benefit.
Yes, we do have self-assessment tools, and we can make that available. Nelson, if you don't mind, just make a note of who asked the questions. Yep. And we'll reach out.
Yep. Okay. No worries. And there was another good question here: is how long do you think a system like your own is would it take to implement it into the workplace?
Depending on which level.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I guess it comes down to the focus that we are looking at. So if I just take a typical sort of a production line, and let's assume we are looking at efficiencies or monitoring efficiency, that process is typically a 5 to 10 day process. Once we've identified the sensors required, we'd configure the sensors and then deliver to customer. Mm-hmm. And it's as simple as the customer installing the sensors or getting an electrician to install the sensors and turning on the cloud connectivity box. This will then transfer data to the cloud real time. And we have a whole range of off-the-shelf reports that can be used to start off with. So within a few days, you would have connectivity and reporting.
Okay, oh, very good. Okay, and I think we'll have just one more question. I think it's more of a big picture question, and probably to get your feedback on it is, where do you see the limits of Industry 4.0 and where it's going in the future?
Well, I guess the limits of Industry 4.0 is based on the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of technology out here, and there's a lot of technology to be implemented. I guess the factories need the vision and the drive to be able to adopt this technology. And it can start off with a simple pilot project. And typically that's where we'd advise customers rather than getting into a full-blown project. And again, because it can be very easily configured into the cloud, we'd advise customers to start off with a pilot project, low cost, low risk, assess the viability of the project, and then we can scale up.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Do have a couple more minutes, so I can get through another question at least. In terms of for flow purposes, could we also track the entity movement using the system?
I'm just trying to think about that question. So I'm assuming you want to be able to track materials moving around your factory?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and if that's the case, yes, we can, through the use of barcoding, we would be able to track material flow throughout the factory.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is yes.
Okay, no worries. And I think we'll finish it off there for the questions. Thanks, Megan, for answering all those questions. There's quite a few there. So if anyone does have a question that we didn't get to, I'll certainly pass these all on to Megan and he can follow them up after the session. So thank you very much for sending them all through. And with that being said, that brings us to an end of today's guest webinar. We would like to thank Megan and FactoryWorx for coming along and presenting today. For all our attendees, we hope you have taken some learnings from the session. We encourage you to complete the feedback form after the session to let us know how it went and if you have any topic suggestions for the future. Thank you once again for attending, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.